I grew up around a musical family, and my father was a bass trombone player, but he loved a drum set. And when I was old enough that I was allowed to even go into his studio, I saw the drum set and I walked over and sat down and something clicked. I knew that was something I wanted to do for a long time. My name is Teele. I'm a drummer and a percussionist. I live in Lafayette, Colorado. I do freelance recording, teach private lessons, and I play shows around town. I've been playing drums for almost 40 years. As far as working, I'd probably say about 30 years I've been working professionally. My dad was Teele. He was a first call bass trombone player in the Los Angeles soundtrack scene, and he worked for over 50 years doing various movies. He did the original Planet of the Apes and the remakes of the Planet of the Apes. So that kind of gives you the arc of his career. Sometimes he would take me along to a session. He would set me back by the drummers and he would say, "Don't make a sound," because he was very adamant about the fact that a room full of, 80 or 90 musicians all on the clock, every second was a lot of money going by. So I would hang out by the percussionists and check out their collections, and they were all great. They would open up their cases and show me they'd had a lot of the standard instruments, but also they had, computer parts and car parts and all kinds of found instruments. So that got me thinking about sounds in a new way. I've made a point of trying to study as many different styles of music as I can. Not so much to try to be a recreation of, let's say, a traditional Afro-Cuban band or Brazilian band, but to borrow their sounds and their rhythms and then apply it to other people's music. I love working with great songwriters, and if I can put in a dash of Afro-Cuban or maybe play some tablas from India, for me that's a fun way to have just a wider palette of sounds that I can bring to the song. When I sit down to play, the first thing I do is I really try to listen to the song and find the arrangement of the song, to find the form. That's my first step. I need to know where the song's going to go, what the energy is, what the meaning is behind it. And then I start to pick out my parts. So let's say it's a jazz tune, so I might try brushes and see how that feels. Or maybe it could be a folk song, a singer-songwriter type of song where there could be room to try different types of grooves. I might try something open and more simple. Or maybe brushes wouldn't be strong enough. Maybe it's a song that's got a little more energy to it, so I just try a different utensil here. I might try something a little softer. I also play percussion, and very often I might find that a song might not need drum set. Sometimes drum set might be too much. So I might try exploring other percussion instruments, maybe something that's like a standard percussion instrument like congas from Cuba or cajon from Peru. But sometimes it could be a completely found sound. So I've got an old gas tank from a VW bus that gets some really great sounds. And well, I'm a percussionist, and so as a percussionist, almost anything can be an instrument. My goal is always to make the music feel better and make it sound better. I'm not trying to showcase myself as a player. I'm very much like to be just there to help create the basis for what the song is. I'm going to make it feel good. I want people to listen to that song and say that that feels great. That to me is my whole goal, is the feel of the music. I'm not out on tour. I'm not playing with the Rolling Stones and doing some big thing, but for me that's really not what I want. I get to be home, I get to be with my family, get to hang out with my daughter, and I get to, like I say, I get to make music with people all around the world and yet still be in my home base with all my instruments with me. Every little nook and cranny of this room has something that I use to make music with. Over the years, I've made a habit of visiting as many music stores as I can and checking out what they might have, but also very often a world import store that deals with art and furniture might also have a couple random instruments. And sometimes they can be more to look at than to play, but every once in a while I get lucky and find something at an import store. Also, all my friends know what I do, and so very often if someone has an old tambourine that they're not using and they say, "Hey, Christian, you want this tambourine?" So many of the instruments here have been just gifts from people that I've encountered over the years, bands I've played in. You might think I'm in this really small space, but for me it's huge, it's massive. It's full of tools of imagination and musical possibilities for me, and I'll be in here for a long time making music.